Are you planning on buying a home this year? In this video, we're going to go over the 10-step home buying process and what you need to know before you buy a home. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Southern California, then subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know about the market in Southern California. My name is Steve Batiste. I'm the broker owner of Next Home West Realty, and we get calls, emails, and texts every single day from people just like you wanting to make their move to Southern California. So whether it be 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. All the information is in the description below, and we'd love to help you out. So as I mentioned before, we're going to go over the 10-step home buying process, and at the end of the video, I'll give you a link where you can download a home buyer's guide to help you with the process, to help you along. It'll go into a little bit more detail than we're going to go into on this video. Step 1 is to find an agent. The first thing you're going to want to do is talk to a real estate agent so they can give you some advice or advise you on where you want to start looking to buy that home. A real estate agent is someone who has a fiduciary responsibility to work with you as if they are actually you, if they're actually buying the home. So their job is to make sure that their clients are very well taken care of, that if anything happens, if the seller discloses something, they can look at some of the history on the homes that you're looking at, and they can advise you on what to look for when buying the home. So you definitely want to have a real estate agent. Unless you bought a lot of homes on your own by yourself, a real estate agent is someone who actually can guide you through the process and make sure that all the paperwork's taken care of and that you are actually taken care of as their client. Step 2 is to prepare your finances. Some of the things you're going to need to have are your last 2 years of tax returns, your bank statements, and your pay stubs. And depending on what type of loan you get, is going to depend on how far back they want to look at your finances. If you're self-employed, they're going to probably look a lot further back than if you're have a W-2 job. But you want to make sure you have all that ready and up and running so that when you get to the next part, you'll be prepared. Step 3 is to get pre-approved. You're going to want to find a lender. If you don't have a lender, reach out to me. I'll help you find one. Also, if you're in another state other than California, or if you're in Northern California, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you find a realtor as well. I have a network of lenders and realtors that I work with that I trust. So just let me know. It's not a problem. Let me know if you need that, and I'll be more than happy to help. But when you're looking for a lender, when they run your credit, you can run your credit, as many times as you want within a 90-day period when you're trying to buy a home. So you're going to want to ask that lender, what their fees are, and you're going to want to compare fees. Unless it's someone you 100% trust, not all lenders are equal. Just, do your research, do your homework when you're looking for a lender. There are also different types of loans in the buyer's guide that I'm going to put a link to. You'll have all the different type of loan, what your credit score needs to be for those types of loans, how much down payment you'll need for those types of loans. It's a lot to go into, and it's pretty much depends on your situation. Step 4 is to start looking for a home. There are a lot of places to look for a home. I would suggest if you have found a realtor already, let the realtor send you homes to look at. You can search on Zillow, realtor.com. There's a lot of sites out there that you can search on. Just be aware that if you click the button on one of those sites and ask for more information or ask for a showing, what that does is it sends an alert to a buyer's agent who's paying for that lead to come to them, and sometimes you're going to get inundated with phone calls. So best thing, and you'd be wasting the other agent's time. If you have an actual agent, just let your agent do the work. Tell the agent, hey, I saw this house on Zillow. Can we go take a look at it? And that more than likely, most agents are going to be happy to do it. Just be aware that if you do click on one of those links on realtor.com or Zillow, your phone's just going to start ringing, and sometimes it doesn't end. I've heard a lot of stories, people getting a lot of phone calls. But Zillow and realtor.com are good places to look for homes. One of the benefits of getting your realtor to send you listings is that as soon as they get listed on the the MLS, they'll go right to you. Zillow, Realtor.com, a lot of those big portals, they have to propagate the data. So it'll take, sometimes 50 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe a couple of hours before a home goes on the MLS before they actually show up on those sites. So if you're in a market, a really tough competitive market, you're going to want to get those listings as soon as they come out. So just ask your realtor, and your realtor will know what type of market, what to set you up on. Step 5 is to make an offer. So once you have a home picked out, and this is it, that's your dream home, that's the one you want, you're going to want to put in an offer. The offer process, depending on what state, most of the states, they'll basically, you submit an offer, your realtor will write that up for you. They're going to want to see proof of funds. They're going to want to see your pre-approval letter from your lender. Make sure you're approved before they'll even look at the offer, before most agents will send it to them. If you don't have that, it's not time to submit an offer yet. Because most realtors are not going to accept an offer without pre-approval and proof of funds on that home. But once you submit the offer, usually most states will give you a 3-day period. You can make that shorter before the seller responds, and depending on how many offers they have, it might take them a little bit longer to respond. Sometimes they don't respond right away. Sometimes they'll even go past that 3 days. And then at which point, if they've gone past the deadline on your offer, they can still accept your offer, but you also have to go back and accept it again as well. But once you get the offer in, usually it takes about 3 days, or sometimes less, depending on the market, again, to get that offer accepted. Once you have an offer accepted, you're going to move on to step 6, which is to schedule an inspection. Once you go into escrow, most states are going to give you a 17-day inspection period and a 21-day loan contingency period. That's pretty standard in Southern California, at least. But you're going to, during that 17 days, you can do whatever inspections you want to do. You have to give them notice before you go in and do the inspection, but you can do whatever. You can do an air quality inspection, a home inspection. Very, very, very highly recommended. If you don't do a home inspection, a lot of realtors are going to have you sign off on disclosures, basically sign off saying that I chose not to do a home inspection. That's how serious it is. The home inspection will go through the entire systems, all the systems of the house, make sure everything's functioning as it's supposed to do. A lot of things they can't check, like they can't see. I hesitate because there are things where they can see into the walls, but it's hard to see if things inside the walls or underneath the home, if things are going to go. But most of the major systems, they'll be able to check. And you definitely want to get that checked before you actually close. Step 7 is to negotiate that final offer. So once you get that home inspection done, you're going to submit a request for repairs. Maybe if the house is in great shape, maybe you don't want to submit a request for repairs. If the seller has already given you $50,000 off the price of the house and there's $2,000 worth of repairs, maybe you want to give the guy a break and just go ahead and do those yourself. But the inspector is going to give you a list of items that he recommends you have looked at or repaired. If there's health and safety items, you're going to definitely want to ask for those to get repaired. And 9 times out of 10, if you have a good realtor and there's a good realtor on the other side, if you ask for repairs and the seller doesn't want to give them, we can work that out. We can negotiate something for you, negotiate a credit for the repairs. There's a lot of different things you can do, but just keep in mind that, in certain markets, the repairs, some sellers just won't do them. And in some markets, they'll do whatever you want them to do. It just really depends on your situation. So talk to your realtor, find out what he recommends or she recommends for repairs, and just move forward. This is the part of escrow that sometimes can get a little contentious between the seller and the buyer. If the buyer's asking for $5,000 worth of repairs and the seller's already given them $20,000 off the price of the house, sometimes the seller's just doesn't want to do it. And sometimes the buyer says, well, I'm not buying the house. And then at this point, you either move on or you fall out of escrow and go find another house. You really have to weigh your options, and if it's a little bit of repairs, if it's not a whole lot of stuff that needs to be done on the house, just move forward. I see it all the time where people will ask for things that are crazy, on the request for repairs. But, most of the time people are pretty reasonable, and a lot of sellers, they want to get that house sold and they want to move on. So, just keep that in mind. Step 8 is to order an appraisal. So what happens once you go into escrow, your lender is going to order an appraisal. Those appraisals are ordered pretty quick right away, so that the appraisers can get the value of the house and back to the lender, so that the lender knows what we're looking at. If you have a house that's listed, or you're in escrow for $900,000 and that appraisal comes back at $850,000, then there's a $50,000 appraisal gap there, and that has to be made up. The banks will not lend over the appraised amount most of the time, but it really depends on your situation. So you talk to your lender, find out what we can do. A lot of times sellers, if the house appraises for less than the price that it's in escrow for, a lot of times sellers will bring the price down. A lot of times they won't. A lot of times they're stuck on what they want, how much they want. And if you really want the house, if it's in great shape and great condition, you're either going to have to come up with that additional money or just back out of the deal and go find you another house. But the appraiser is basically there for the banks to make sure that the banks aren't lending more than the house is worth. Step 9 is to schedule your move. So you're going to want to ask your realtor to get you a list of all the utility companies in the area and start setting up your utilities. The seller is supposed to keep the utilities on until the house closes. So you're going to want to schedule your utilities to come in like right on the day you close, or as close to the day you close as possible. Just make sure 100% that you are closing, that you're going to close on time, and then you can go ahead and set those up. The other thing you need to look out for is a lot of escrows actually don't close on time, so they'll close a few days late, and the seller has a few days to move out. So you're going to kind of want to make sure to keep that in mind, because if the seller's still there for another 4 days and you turn the utilities on the day you close, well, guess what? Now you're paying for the seller's utility bill for the next 4 days. So just keep that in mind. Most agents are going to have applications or ways that they can help you make that move easier and schedule those utilities on. You're also going to want to look for a moving company. If you're not going to do it yourself, there's a lot of moving companies out there that can help you out. If you need recommendations on moving companies or some of those people that help you move, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I'd love to help you. Step 10 is closing day. So what happens on closing day in California anyway is the bank will fund the loan. The escrow will ask title to go to the county and record the note on the home. And once the recording's done, the house is technically your home. You still might have to wait a few days to get the seller, give them time to move out. But, that's what we're all hoping closing day goes easy. One of the things you should have done a couple of days before closing day is went in and did your final walkthrough. And I would suggest on your final walkthrough to take a video camera or use your phone. Everybody's got a video camera nowadays, and record your final walkthrough so that once you actually move into the house, you'll have evidence or proof that the house was in this condition, and then you moved in and it was, if anything should go wrong. Most of the time we don't have to worry about that. Most sellers leave the house in good condition anyway, in Southern California anyway. But, sometimes we've had it where we move into the house and there are things that are damaged because when they were moving out, things happen. So if that does happen after you close, you need to talk to your realtor and find out what they can do. Sometimes they can contact the selling agent or the listing agent and get the sellers to actually give you a credit to get those repaired. Most people are going to want to, make sure everything's done right for you when they move out. So just lean on your realtor for a little help, a little advice, and most of the time these go without a hitch. So if you want to see that buyer's guide, just click on the link above and go ahead and download it. I'm not going to ask you for any information, your name, phone number, email, or anything like that. Just click on it. You'll get a download. And if you need anything, if you're in Southern California, if you're, whether you're buying in the next 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I'd love to help you move to Southern California.